Hello students, in this video we are going to prove Thayet's extension theorem. It states that we are having x comma tau as a topological space. If x is normal, a topological space x comma tau is said to be normal if and only if every continuous real function f defined on closed set capital F on x into an interval a comma b as a continuous extension f dash as a continuous extension f dash defined on all x whose values lies in a comma b. If x comma tau is normal, then there exists a continuous real function f defined. This f is defined on closed subspace f of x into a closed interval f to a closed interval a comma b. As a continuous extension f dash, see, whenever x is normal, there exists a continuous real function f such that f is defined on closed subspace f onto a closed interval a comma b. So whenever x is normal, then there exists a continuous real function f defined on closed subspace f into a closed interval a comma b. Also, there exists a continuous extended function f dash defined on x into a comma b. If x is normal, then there exists a function f which is a continuous real function defined from closed subspace f into closed interval a comma b. As a extension, there exists a function f dash defined from x to closed interval a comma b. Similarly, if this condition is satisfied, then x is normal. Now we are going to prove. Suppose x comma tau is a normal space and there exists every continuous real function f such that f to a comma b and f is closed. Also f dash such that x to a comma b. Again, this is our closed interval. Whenever this condition is satisfied, we have to show x is a normal space. So, to prove x is a normal space, we should prove two disjoint closed set should be subset of two disjoint open set. So, to prove that, I am considering f1 and f2 two disjoint closed set. It means f1 intersection f2 is null set. F is a closed set. Therefore, there exists a function f, f1 union f2 defined on a comma b such that f of x equal to a if x belongs to f1 and f of x equal to b if x belongs to f2. f1 and f2 are disjoint set. Here f1 union f2 we are considering. How we are defining? F of x equal to a whenever x belongs to f1. F of x equal to b whenever x belongs to f2. So, by assumption, this function f can be extended as f dash, right? Therefore, this function f can be extended as a continuous mapping f dash such that x can be defined on a comma b, right? So, Here we are going to define f dash of x. F dash of x is equal to a whenever x belongs to f1 and f dash of x equal to b if x belongs to f2. So this mapping f dash satisfies our Urysohn's lemma. So what is our Urysohn lemma? A topological space is normal if two disjoint closed set A comma B subset of x, there exists a continuous function f x2 r such that f of A is equal to 0 and f of B is equal to 1. F of A is equal to 0 and f of B is equal to 1 whenever r is defined on 0 comma 1. Instead of 0 comma 1, here it is defined as A comma B. And f of A is equal to 0 means f of f1 is equal to A and f of f2 is equal to B. That's what we are defining here. Therefore, this f dash satisfies Urysohn's lemma. So, according to Urysohn's lemma, x is normal. That's what we have to prove. So, whenever x is normal, this condition is satisfied. Whenever this condition is satisfied, x is normal. That is our Urysohn lemma. This necessary condition is satisfied here. Therefore, from Urysohn's lemma, x is normal space. Now we are going to prove converse part. So our data is x is normal space. Now we have to prove there exists a function f and there exists a extended function f dash also. Now I define a function f such that f is to a comma b be a continuous mapping. Now f is a closed subset of x. Now we are going to prove there exists a continuous extension f dash over x. We should prove there exists a continuous extension f dash such that x into a comma b. Now for convenience I am taking a as -1 and b as 1. Now I am going to define a map f naught as f2 -1 to 1. F naught as f2 -1 to 1 such that f naught of x is equal to f of x for all x belongs to f. Suppose a naught and b naught are two subsets of f such that a naught is equal to x whenever f naught of x is less than or equal to -1/3. It is defined between -1 to 1. A naught is equal to x whenever it is less than or equal to -1/3. B naught is x whenever f naught of x is greater than or equal to 1/3. See here we are having -1 to 1. 1/3 means 0.3 something. If this is 0, here we are having -1/3 and here we are having 1/3. What is a naught? Whenever f naught of x is less than or equal to 1/3. It is less than or equal to 1/3 means this. This is our a naught. Whenever f naught of x is greater than 1/3 means this portion. This is our b naught. Obviously, a naught and b naught are non-empty disjoint closed set, right? Because we are including -1 to -1/3, 1/3 to 1. So, a naught and b naught are non-empty disjoint closed set. For f is closed in x, using Urysohn's lemma, there exists a continuous function g0 such that x is defined from -1/3 to 1 by 3. Whenever G naught of A naught equal to minus 1 by 3 and G naught of B naught equal to 1 by 3. So we are considering a function f defined on minus 1 to 1. F is a closed function. We are considering two closed set, disjoint closed set A naught and B naught defined in this way. So we are defining G naught using Urisen's lemma x such that minus 1 by 3 to 1 by 3 such that f of A naught is equal to minus 1 by 3, f of B naught is equal to 1 by 3. So here that's what we have proved. F of A equal to 0, f of B is equal to 1 whenever x is defined on 0 to 1. Here G naught is defined from x to minus 1 by 3 to 1 by 3. A naught and B naught are closed subset of x. Therefore, G naught of A naught is equal to minus 1 by 3. G naught of B naught is equal to 1 by 3. Now, I am going to define F1 as F naught minus G naught. F naught is F2 minus 1, 1. G naught is x2 minus 1 by 3 to 1 by 3. Then F1 of x is equal to F naught minus G naught of x. F1 is equal to F naught minus G naught. Then F1 of x is equal to F naught minus G naught of x. This implies modulus of F1 of x is less than or equal to F naught of x minus G naught of x. So if we consider here minus 1 to minus 1, 1 by 3 to 1. This is our G naught which is defined here. We are removing this 2. So what is the remaining area? 1 by 3 minus of minus 1 by 3 means 2 by 3. 1 by 3 plus 1 by 3 is 2 by 3. Therefore, this is obviously less than or equal to 2 by 3. Now, I am going to define A1 such that x. F1 of x is less than or equal to minus 1 by 3 into 2 by 3. And B1 is equal to x such that F1 of x is greater than or equal to minus 1 by 3 into 2 by 3. Obviously, again A1 and B1 are non-empty disjoint closed set in F. Again A1 and B1 are closed in X. Again using Urisen's lemma, there exists a continuous function G1 such that X is defined on between these two. Minus 1 by 3 into 2 by 3, comma 2 by 3 into 1 by 3. 1 by 3 into 2 by 3. Similarly, G1 of A1 is this, G1 of B1 is this. Again, we are going to redefine the function F2 as F1 minus G1. So, what is F1? F1 is F0 minus G0, right? So, we will get F0 minus G0 minus G1. This we can write it as F0 minus G0 plus G1. Similarly, we will get this condition. F2 of x is less than or equal to modulus of F0 minus G0 plus G1 of x. So, this is less than or equal to, this is less than 2 by 3 whole square. So, when we continue in this way, we will get the function F0, F1, F2, etc. Fn all are defined on F, closed set F on X, such that modulus of f of x should be less than or equal to 2 by 3 to the power n, because in first case we are getting less than or equal to 2 by 3, in second case we are getting less than or equal to 2 by 3 whole square. Continuing in this way, this is equal to less than or equal to 2 by 3 to the power n. And the sequence G0, G1, this is for F0. g0, g1, g2, etc. Or we'll get modulus of gn of x is less than or equal to 1 by 3 into 2 by 3 to the power n, because we are defining g0 in this way. 1 by 3 2 by minus 1 by 3 into 2 by 3 to 1 by 3 into 2 by 3. So if we continue this way, similarly fn we can get it as f0 minus g0 plus g1 plus etc. plus gn minus 1. Now I am going to take this value as Sn. Sn is g0 plus g1 plus etc. gn minus 1. It means sum of infinite series of functions in X. Since space of bounded continuous real function is complete, since space of bounded continuous real value function is complete, X is also complete. So, modulus of gn of x less than or equal to 1 by 3 into 2 by 3 to the power n. This series Sn. What is Sn? Sum of this. What is this? 1 by 3 summation of this. So, summation of 1 by 3 into 2 by 3 to the power n is equal to n. Therefore, Sn converges uniformly on X. This is geometric series and summation of infinite geometric series. Using that formula, we are getting summation of this as 1. Therefore, what is this? This we are taking it as Sn. Sn converges uniformly on X to a bounded continuous function f dash. So, what is our f dash now? Modulus of f dash of x is less than or equal to 1. Therefore, finally, we are having fn is equal to f0 minus Sn, right? Therefore, this we are taking it as Sn. Fn of x is equal to f0 of x minus Sn. When we take limit on both sides, limit n tends to infinity. Here we does not have any n term. Here we are having n term. Limit of n tends to infinity. Limit of n tends to infinity f of x is 0 because fn of x is less than or equal to 2 by 3 to the power n. When n tends to infinity, fn of x tends to tends to 0. Fn of x tends to 0 whenever n tends to infinity. Therefore, this is 0 and this f0 of x remains as it is minus this is our f dash, and f dash of x, whenever n tends to infinity, we are having f dash of x. Therefore, we are having f dash of x is equal to f0 of x. This implies f dash is equal to f0. Therefore, there exists an extended function f dash for f. That's what we have to prove.